South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show. Every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. I'm Jeff Parles. She is Alex White. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. How was your day yesterday, betting-wise?
I don't even remember what I bet yesterday.
That's kind of a weird day.
I did take Florida at halftime. That was good because they won by 1, and they were up 1 at halftime. They ended up winning by 5, and the over in that game was good. Those are 2 things I know I won. I don't even remember what I bet yesterday. That's always a good sign. That means obviously I didn't have a great day. Not like you.
Missouri over as well.
Yeah, I know you. I didn't end up not betting that, but I know you had that with ease yesterday for that one. All right. On the bottom line will be the JR/Nick Invitational. See what that question is. You will be able to get that. First one to correctly answer will be given a nice pat on the back virtually by Alex and I here today. And then we'll have plenty more to get to here today, as we got a lot to get to here on a Thursday across the board. The biggest thing in college hoops last night was that Florida beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So now Florida has beaten both Auburn and Bama on the road. So the 2 best road wins in the country belong to the Florida Gators this year. And Florida probably has played themselves back into a number 1 seed with that win yesterday.
I would imagine so, right? Especially with that win over Bama, and that's who they were kind of competing for that 1 overall seed. So, yeah, impressive, really, the Gators going into the tournament. We'll see. This SEC tournament is going to be wild. Anything could really happen coming up in the next week here.
Let's dive into today. A lot of conference tournaments. Another one gets rolling here in town with the WCC. The Missouri Valley, which we talked about yesterday, gets going momentarily, and we'll just start there with Indiana State and Southern Illinois, a game that will be starting momentarily in St. Louis. Looking at this one, SIU and Indiana State played over the weekend in Terre Haute, and Indiana State ran Illinois State out of the building. It was not a competitive game. That was 95-77. Now they flip around and play 5 days later. I'll just ask you this, Alex. When you have a result like that, and it was their only meeting this year, and then they flip around and play immediately in a conference tournament in both teams' next games, How do you handle that? Do you change your numbers at all? What do you do with that? I know obviously revenge will play in, but other than that, what do you change?
I really do have to give that 2.5 to Southern Illinois for revenge here, especially on a neutral site. So that really keeps me off of the side because otherwise I would have Indiana as a 2-point favorite over Southern Illinois. I wanted to bet the over. I made it higher than this, but I'm going to stay off of it just because they did just play each other. And really, if you look at the numbers, I mean, Indiana State was 23 of 30 from 2, shot 41% from 3. I just don't see that happening again. Maybe some regression to the mean. On the flip side, though, Southern Illinois, very good offensive team, and they did not shoot well. So we might see them bump up here in this one. So it's a lean to the over. I did make it 161, so a nice 6-point difference, but I didn't touch this game either side.
I'm staying off of it just because of the recency that they played. Indiana State may just be a bad matchup for the Salukis. That's what the possibility is here. By the way, Sycamores and Salukis, pretty good mascot matchup, a tree and a dog here today. But I'm going to stay out. And again, I'm with you that this should play as an over game, but now we're conference tournaments, neutral sites. Sometimes the sight lines get a little funky in that first half. Maybe you go first half under and then pop it over in the second half. Maybe you do that. But you got to get those bets in momentarily because this game is legitimately about to start in St. Louis. So.
And if you look at, Indiana State has just been an over team all year, 21-8 to the over. So it should play that way, especially with the pace being there. But you're right. I would just wait and maybe get some in-game here.
Moving along. Let's keep going here, Alex. Let's stay in the Missouri Valley. There's your bracket there. By the way, winner, that first one will play Drake. Be a nice-sized underdog tomorrow in St. Louis. And we'll go to Illinois State and Missouri State. The one thing with this league, everything's pretty tight. There's no line bigger than 5.5 on any of these 4 games here today. The Redbirds, the 5 seed, the first team to miss out on the bye, getting a Missouri State team that almost took out Drake over the weekend in Des Moines. Needed overtime, Drake did, in order to beat Mo State. The previous matchups so far this year, Illinois State won by 6 in Springfield. They only won by 2 in Normal. So, again, I think Illinois State is much, much better. They're 100 spots better in Ken Palm. They are the better basketball team. It's just a matter of, do you want to lay 5.5 now with the Redbirds? I would say you're still probably okay. I thought the 5 on the overnight was much better. You still can find 1-5 looking at Caesars right now. But other than that, it's 5.5. And there's a bunch of 6 as well in faraway places on this game.
So I really was looking deep into this game, wanting to make a case for the dog here, even with the getting the revenge factor. That's enough of a difference here to take that 5.5. But looking at how those games did go, yes, they were competitive, but I just, as you mentioned with the first game, I think this is a bad matchup here for Missouri State. I mean, Illinois State is number 1 in the conference in 2-point percentage, and they're 3rd from 3. And then Missouri State is 12th defending the 2-point shot. So really, they've done some good things off defensively, and their defensive number is pretty good, but I really just don't trust them in this spot. And you're right, Illinois State is just by far the better basketball team.
5.5-point favorites in this one. At 5, I thought it was good. You're getting close now. Still probably okay at 5.5, but maybe just find a separate dance partner here with Illinois State. All right, Evansville and Murray State up next. So Evansville, the 10 seed, 252nd in Ken Palm. Murray State, 147, so a nice little gap here for this one. The matchups this year, Evansville beat this Murray State team at home earlier in the year. Murray State beat Evansville by 2, so they've been pretty even matchup-wise. I'm staying out of this completely. I was looking at that under, but 130 is just a little too short for my liking. Was really hoping for a mid-130s and then go under that. 130. Again, the other thing you got to keep in mind, as much as we love unders in this, we do get the tight game fouling at the end of these games a lot longer than you normally would, especially for 2 teams that their only path to postseason play is winning this tournament. So be a look to the under, but man, I wish we were getting like a 133.5, 134. I feel a lot better about that, Alex.
That is a solid point there. You bring up about the fouls at the end of the game. I did go under 131 though, and I think you're still okay here at that 130. Really, both of these teams like to play slow, and you brought up Murray State being 147 overall. Well, as bad as Evansville has been, they are 147 defense efficiency on Ken Pom, and I do think they play to that. So I do like the under in this one. These two are bottom 2 of 3 offensively in this Missouri Valley Conference. So they're going to struggle to score. We're also on a neutral site. Better defenses. Evansville's second best defense in the conference. So I do like the under here.
Alex on the under with Murray State and Evansville. The next game up, UIC taking on Valparaiso. I've liked this Flames team a lot of the year. I've not been the same team since January 25th. They were 6-3 in conference. They end up 10-10. Valpo, this is another one. They just played each other. Final game of the regular season. UIC beat Valpo by 4 in a game that had a nice 76 possession pace. Now, you'd expect the tempo to be slower in this game, conference tournament wise, neutral, not stuff to actually play for, unlike the last game. But you got two defenses in this game, Alex, that are both sub 200. And if you get a mid-70s pace, this game's going over. It's just a matter of getting the right pace here. I understand why this has been bet under, but that probably is a look to the over, even with all the things that go against you for betting totals over in these conference tournaments. It will be a look to the over here, if anything here.
If I were to play this, I would definitely grab the points here with the dog and Valpo. They did lose both games in the regular season, so you can give them some revenge here, and you are getting some value. And then, really, Illinois, Chicago is much better offensively, but like you mentioned, both of them are bad defensively. So I think you'll get their best effort. I know you'll get their best effort. This is conference tournament play. So if anything, I would be on the dog taking the points. They lost by 6 and then 4. So they did play competitive in both of those games that they lost in the regular season.
UIC, again, I think they actually have a shot to beat Northern Iowa in the next round, but you got to get there first in order to obviously advance in these tournaments. Drake betting favorite about $1.20 that you could have got this morning while these numbers were still readily available in the conference futures market. Now all of them off the board, of course, with this tournament now underway. They'll repop in select places. If there is a team to pull an upset, Alex, and if Drake weren't to win, I think I'd only look at Northern Iowa. But Bradley's had a really nice regular season. I think they've been a little bit of a luck box, but it would be more to look at Northern Iowa. But this is Drake's league, and I expect them to win the conference tournament yet again. It would be 3 consecutive tournaments for the Drake Bulldogs with a conference tournament win here in St. Louis this weekend. It's
really tough to bet against Drake, and I would almost just look to moneyline them all the way to that championship game.
And the different look, remember, for Drake this year. DeVry's now coaching West Virginia. The first-year coach, Ben McCollum, comes over from Northwest Missouri State, brings in a lot of his D2 players, and they have been unbelievable. They're 27-3, Alex. The only conference they had that 2-game losing streak to begin the 2025 calendar year. They lost to Bradley by 2, and that's been it.
Yep.
Grinder team. The slowest tempo in all of college basketball, 59.3 possessions per game. All right, let's go to the WCC next. There's one game in the WCC tonight. It's the 2 worst teams in the league. It's Pacific and San Diego. Pacific's a 2-point favorite behind us. There's some 1.5 in the market as well. I would actually take the dog in this game. Both of these teams are not any good. If you told me Pacific won by 9, sure. If you told me San Diego wins this game, all right, fine. But I'll just take 2 points and go from there. And if Pacific wins by margin, so be it, Alex.
That is the way I would play it as well. You do have the revenge factor there for San Diego too, but really this is just a coin flip game between these two. So I would lean to San Diego, though they are the better defense of the two. It's tough. It could go either way very easily. And that's why they are in this first game here.
And San Diego won their last game out, actually. They beat Portland, the final game of the regular season, to get just only their second conference win. Hey, they beat Pacific to go to 1-0 in conference, lost 16 in a row, and then finally beat up the streak in that final game of the regular season. There's the bracket. We know, again, has always been built out like this. Big distinct advantage to Gonzaga and whoever happens to get the other top seed. This year, St. Mary's is the 1 and Gonzaga is the 2. But at the betting markets, seeding no matter. Gonzaga's minus 150 at the Superbook to win this conference tournament. St. Mary's at plus 165. Everybody else, big, giant numbers. I will actually do something I was not anticipating today, and it is very difficult to win this tournament from outside the top 2 seed blocks. But I think you can make an argument on the Beavers at 70-1. Now, they'd have to win 4 games, which, again, you might actually do better rolling over because they will be double digits against both St. Mary's and Gonzaga. But this is the one team in this conference that they beat Gonzaga. If you remember, they beat them in Corvallis. They did struggle twice against St. Mary's, so I don't love that they have to play St. Mary's first. But as always with any team that plays a slow tempo, you can get beat on a day where you don't have your offense. The one thing with Oregon State is they want to play slow too. So
Right.
It is a little bit of a stylistic issue. I wonder if Tinkle would try to change things and try to play a little faster against St. Mary's, knowing that playing slow against them has not worked in either occasion. 2 double-digit losses in games that were 55 and 57 possessions, respectively. I still think Gonzaga wins this tournament, though. I know St. Mary's swept them. I don't see St. Mary's beating Gonzaga 3 times. I know it's a cliche. It's hard to beat the same team 3 times, but normally teams can beat the same team 3 times because they're much better.
Yeah.
Of course, St. Mary's beating anyone they play for a 3rd time would make sense, but I just think Gonzaga is the right way here, even though I don't think I'd lay $1.50 on Gonzaga to win this tournament, Alex. I don't think I'd get there. Really would look for a slightly better price on that.
Yeah, I still have Gonzaga 1.5 better than St. Mary's. So I do have them as the best team in the WCC. I don't know what the final number will be when we get this championship matchup, if we do get these 2. But yeah, I think I lean to Gonzaga winning this, especially with that 3 in a row. You know how I am with the revenge. So it would only be the Bulldogs for me.
Gonzaga and St. Mary's most likely will play on Tuesday night. Again, look, Santa Clara, San Francisco. Santa Clara, of course, beat Gonzaga earlier in the year. San Francisco is the only team that beat St. Mary's this year. Of course, they're on the opposite sides of the bracket. Santa Clara would get St. Mary's, and San Francisco would get Gonzaga in that semifinal. All right, to the conference tournaments that are underway that we'll get going here today here in college hoops. To the Sun Belt, we go. A big rivalry game, actually, here. Georgia Southern, Georgia State. In New Orleans for this one. So again, bracket just keeps motoring along here. Georgia Southern put it on Southern Miss yesterday. I like the lower seed in this game. I like Georgia Southern, who is the favorite in this game. And quite frankly, Alex, I kind of expected him to be more than a 2-point favorite in this game. Again, it's a rivalry game. I actually think in this sort of circumstance, playing the day before helps you a little bit, especially when the talent is not really that much different. These 2 teams, of course, in the regular season played 2 times. They split. The home team won both. Georgia State won in overtime the first matchup. These 2 teams actually played the final game of the regular season. Georgia Southern won. So back-to-back games against Georgia Southern for Georgia State, but I don't think that matters. I just like Georgia Southern. I just think they're a better basketball team on a neutral, Alex.
I made them 2 in this spot against Georgia State on a neutral, so I agree with you. I do think that they are the rightful favorite in this spot. I did make the total higher, but with this rivalry and conference tournament play, I'm definitely staying off of that over. But yeah, I'm with you. If anything, I would be playing the favorite, maybe money line play.
The other game is Old Dominion and Texas State. 7 right now with a total of 140.5. And Alex, quite frankly, I think this number is right where it needs to be right now.
I do too. I lean to the favorite here with Texas State. I made them a little bit higher at. No, I didn't. There's been money towards Texas State.
Yeah.
It's moved that way.
Yeah.
I didn't make it that high, but I am closer. So I do agree with the move from 3.5 up to 7 because I have Texas State 6 here. So now that really is no play for me. And again, a little bit of a lean to the over. We're seeing money come in on the under. And that is more because of how Old Dominion wants to play here in this one. So nothing for me in this as well.
To the Ohio Valley next. We got Little Rock and UT Martin. They bet Little Rock here in this one. The Trojans up to 5.5 or 6 in this one against UT Martin. Skyhawks needed quite the comeback to beat Tennessee Tech yesterday. They were favored even though they were the lower seed in that matchup yesterday. We talked about this yesterday. It kind of feels like when part of the reason I took SIUE that Little Rock, who I have pretty even to SEMO, who's the 1 seed. Little Rock handles their business against Tennessee Martin here. Tougher matchup tomorrow night for SEMO, SIUE. I like them against whoever wins that bottom half game, which we'll get to in a second. But Little Rock here, 5.5. I have no issue with this. It'd probably be put a Little Rock in a money line parlay with someone else. That would probably be the way I'd go here.
And this is one that I'm almost nervous about, the extra game, especially like you said, having to really make a comeback there to get that win. Little Rock is just so much better defensively. My numbers say lean to taking the points here with UT Martin, but I just can't get there with this one. I mean, Little Rock's been so good too against the spread, 10-6 at home this year, 15-14, so nothing too great overall. But I think it's a bad matchup. You've got the better defense here with Little Rock.
Top 100 defense for the Trojans. Again, this league, everyone's terrible on offense. Yeah. That's really the biggest thing to take on this. No one is above. The highest rated offense is SEMO as 243rd. Not good.
No.
Not good. Those top 3 Little Rock's the 4 seed, but SIUE and SEMO also good defenses, all in the top 170 in KenPom defensively speaking. Lindenwood and Tennessee State, Alex. Not much to add on this game. Lindenwood beats Morehead State yesterday. Morehead just completes just a total meltdown over the last month of the season. 4.5, 147. I don't know. Do you have anything that pops in this game?
I mean, I would lean to taking the points here just because we have seen Lindenwood beat this team once in the regular season. They did split. But I do think that number is just right. It depends if you want to give Lindenwood some home revenge for losing the last game. Well, actually, they lost on the road. Both of them won at home, so we can't even give that. So that number is just right here. I do think it'll be a tight game, though, which a lot of these are in these mid-major conferences, right? So you can find some value getting the points and them keeping it close. But like you kind of said earlier, the fouls, and it could also get away from you.
Still like SIUE to win this league. Again, I think it's just a scenario where Little Rock and SEMO might actually beat each other up in that semifinal, and how much will be left in the tank for Saturday night in Evansville for that championship game. All right, let's go to the Summit next. UMKC handled their business yesterday against Oral Roberts. Now they take on Omaha, who, again, the stunner number 1 seed in this league. KenPom rating-wise, Omaha is, without a shadow of a doubt, the 4th best team in this league, and they managed to get the 1. And the line kind of tells you that this is not your normal 1 seed. Omaha's only 3.5 against the Roos, and quite frankly, I actually like UMKC outright in this game, Alex.
Wow.
Look, this is a UMKC defense that can actually really play. They're terrible on offense, which, again, we got the contrast here. Omaha top 100 offense, bottom 60 defense this year. But I don't know. You get a team that overachieves in the regular season who is, again, Omaha has not been accustomed to being a top team in this league since they moved up to D1 about a little over a decade ago. But I like the Roos here. I think this has got the makings of an outright upset. You can take the 3.5 if you want to be a little more cautious. No problem with that. But I do like the Roos outright here, pulling the shocker here in an 8-1 here in the Summit, which really sets up the bracket nicely for North Dakota State if they can handle their business against South Dakota in the quarter tomorrow night.
lean to taking the points. I do think that this has gotten a little bit too high here. I have Omaha 2 against UMKC, so I can definitely understand taking the points. It's not enough. It's not a big enough difference for me to jump in here. Lean to the under as well. But yeah, the way Omaha has been covering this year, Jeff, 20-9 ATS. We'll see. Let's see what happens in this one. Maybe they are undervalued, or maybe they have been overachieving, and we will find out in this first matchup.
Moving along to the second game, in a game that I know you're on here, Alex. The Tommies of St. Thomas will take on Denver. Again, all these games, of course, neutral site in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. 10 on this one with the Tommies, 144 to total.
So Denver definitely struggles on the offensive side, but giving them some home revenge for losing to St. Thomas, where they did play them very close. They lost 79-76. I think 10 is way too much here for St. Thomas, so I'm jumping in on the dog in this one. And this has been a good team, covering the spreads 15-12 ATS on the year. So I just think 10 points is way too much, getting double digits here in conference play.
This is, again, a league known for offense, except for UMKC and South Dakota State. Everybody else is sub 250 defense in Ken Palm this year. With that said, you have 3 offenses in the top 100.
Yep.
Omaha's one of them. North Dakota State's one of them. And these Tommies are another. So, again, a good offensive league. And, again, you got some obscenely slow paces in South Dakota, North Dakota State is going to be a fun one we'll talk about tomorrow, where you have the biggest contrast of style you possibly can, basically, in this league, unless if you get UMKC in South Dakota in the semifinal, which maybe you could. All right, let's go to the Horizon. This is a good day of basketball in the Horizon League. All games in the Horizon League are going to be on home floors here. Yeah. So that is something to keep in mind. They moved to Indianapolis for the semifinals, but not the quarters. So here you go, 4-5, Youngstown State and Purdue Fort Wayne, IPFW. Alex, I picked IPFW to win this conference tournament going in. Now you get, this is the pivot game, I think, for this whole tournament, actually, because Fort Wayne, I actually like their matchup against Robert Morris, assuming Robert Morris even gets through tonight, which I'm not sure is a 100% given. If it's Youngstown, Robert Morris, assuming they handle their business, I think Robert Morris would very much beat Youngstown in a semifinal. Again, assuming chalk prevails, because they do all the reseeding with the neutral site coming up. But I like IPFW. You got some revenge here for them. They got toasted when they played at Youngstown State a few weeks ago by 22. And in the first matchup, they beat Youngstown by 9. I know this game's on the Penguins' home floor, but the Mastodons are just better. And I'm willing to take the revenge angle here, Alex.
Well, and they are the better team. I mean, if I didn't give Youngstown State this home court, then it would be a pick 'em here. And then if you give Fort Wayne that revenge, you'd be at about 2.5. But I did give Youngstown State home court in this one, so that keeps me off of this game. I basically have it a pick 'em. I also have it higher. But again, another conference tournament game. But if you look at all of the metrics, I mean, it does lean to and over for sure between these two. Both of them top 66 in pace. So this is one that I actually probably would jump in on over 155. And especially with a spread like that, I mean, could get some extra fouling at the end there. So if anything, I think I'm leaning to that over 155.
Next game up, you look at Milwaukee and Oakland, 3-6 matchup. I think the Panthers and Milwaukee are the best team in this field. Oakland, not the same team that they were a year ago that, of course, upset Kentucky and almost made the Sweet 16 with an overtime loss to NC State. Just a matter of this 6.5 is too rich to lay with Milwaukee. That's really all it comes down to here. Milwaukee, the betting favorite to win this tournament, and it makes sense. 147 a total on this one, Alex.
You're right. I do think that they are the best team, but I do think that 6.5 is too rich here. Oakland, well-coached team. I mean, you guys talked me off of a good one the other day, and I think that they will be prepared in this one and can at least keep it close. So, yeah, I would take the 6.5 if I was playing this game with the dog.
6.5, the number on this one, with a total of 147. Northern Kentucky and Cleveland State up next. 4.5. with this one with a total of 138.5, Alex. I think there's a legitimate argument for the dog in both the 7-2 and the 1-8 game. I think I'd rather just take the points with the Norse as opposed to just going outright upset. I know your dad not a huge fan of this Cleveland State team, but Wright State's got the offense to stay in this game. And if you get a weird, funky offensive outing from Cleveland State, they could be in a little jeopardy even at home against a Norse defense that is pitiful, to say the very least.
Well, and Cleveland State worries me a little bit here. Northern Kentucky is the hotter team, right? They've been playing very good basketball since February with only 2 losses to Robert Morris and Milwaukee. Really respectable losses in that one. And Cleveland State's the complete opposite. I mean, they had a nice streak going, and then now I just wonder if the wheels have kind of come off there, and they've lost 3 of their last 5, 4, 5 of their last, 7, 8 here. So
Cleveland State 3-5 in their last 8.
Yep, 3-5 in their last 8. So that makes me a little bit nervous here. I would lean to taking the points with the dog, and I also like the under between these two. Both of them want to play at a slower pace, and I think that 139 is a good number to go under.
Now we get to the 1-8 matchup. It's Robert Morris and Wright State. Wright State is live in this game. Their offense is 117th in the country. The problem for Wright State is their defense is an abomination at 314th. Robert Morris, 127th on defense, pretty good. 202 on offense, mediocre. But even with the home court here, one of the teams Robert Morris got beat by this year was this Wright State team.
Yep.
And the other matchup, Robert Morris only beat him by 3. So I don't love this matchup for Robert Morris here. Look, you're the 1 seed. You're supposed to win these conference tournaments when you're higher up. Again, this is a little bit of a weirder league where I actually think Robert Morris is the 4th best team in this league, even though they got the 1 seed. We saw that in the Summit as well. But I like Wright State here very much on a 6.5. I think that's a great bet here on the current numbers. If you want to sprinkle plus 230, I don't mind that either. I think an upset is very much in play. Now, the one thing that could absolutely happen here is Wright State's defense could really show up. And Robert Morris's defense could really show up.
Yep.
And Wright State's defense hasn't shown up all year. You could get a game where Robert Morris puts up 85 and they win this game comfortably. But I think this is tight one way or another. I'll take the points with Wright State in this one, Alex.
I mean, you make some very valid points here, especially with them getting that win over Robert Morris already this year and then playing them very close, 66-64. I just would be concerned with the adjustments being made and them have already taken a loss to Wright State being prepared in this one. So I'm going to stay off of it. I think that 6.5 is the correct number.
Going to the Patriot League next. Quarterfinal action. Chalk prevailed in round 1, even though, that was a pretty brutal non-cover at the end from Lehigh. All an opportunity to cover that game, and they lose by 4, getting 3. Let's look at Bucknell and Loyola, let's look at Army and Colgate first. Sorry on that. That's first in the rotation numbers. 3-6 game here in this one. Colgate has had a dominant run in this league, though just not the same team this year. Just they're underwater overall. Horrible on defense, mediocre on offense. They take on an Army team that has had its struggles as well. Again, it's a very weak league this year. Usually you at least see one team in this league be a legitimate top 150 team. That's not the case this year, which makes this a wide open tournament. Nothing for me in this game. I guess you could argue you could take the 8 with Army, but I'm not really interested in that, Alex.
You definitely could make that argument. They did split in the regular season, so there is a path that Army could cover this number, if not even win. I do think the number is right, maybe a little bit rich. I got Colgate 6.5 here in this one. So if anything, I would make a case for the dog.
The other service academy in this league, 4-5 matchup, Boston U hosts Navy. Alex, I think the wrong team is favored in this game, even with the home floor for BU. It would be a look to the midshipmen in this one. 2 matchups for both teams this year. Home team won convincingly in both, so that is at least something to keep in mind. We also had some big-time anomalies in the second game. The second game was a 58-possession game that landed 87-65. I don't see that happening again. First one was a 60-possession game that landed at a more normal 62-47 for what you would expect. A 58-possession game that lands 152 is a little bit nuts. But Boston U in that game shot 65% from 2 and 52% from 3. Not sustainable, to say the very least. But I do like Navy here. I think they can cover the 2. I do like them outright as well. But I think in these games, I'm going to take points. Yeah. Especially when it's shorter numbers as opposed to taking short money lines, I think, Alex.
I think this game should be a pick-em here, even at Boston. So, yeah, I think that the 2 is the only way I would go. I would like to have at least 2.5 or 3 in this one. But really, it's a coin flip game. So you're getting value with the points.
We go to Bender Arena in Washington, D.C. next with American U hosting Lafayette. 4-point line in this game. The matchups this year, AU won by 2 in D.C. They won by 7 in Easton. 4 seems about right to me, Alex. I do like AU to win this game. At books that offer the money line. If you wanted to put them in a money line parlay, no problem. But I don't love having to lay 4 here. I think it'd just be money line only here on American U in this one.
I definitely like the favorite in this one. I think Lafayette was pretty fortunate to get to this spot. I like the under as well between these two. So we do know that American wants to play at a very slow pace, 350th in the country. So another one, though, Jeff, that we're sitting right there at that 130 mark that I know can definitely scare people off of that. But I did make this game 124, so we do have a nice 5.5-point difference. Didn't play it yet, but that's the way I would.
Bucknell, the 1 seed, welcomes Loyola. This is the biggest line by margin in this league at 9. There's some 8.5 out there as well. I would only lay the favorite in this game. I'm not going to do it because I don't love the idea of having to win by double digits, but Bucknell is much better than Loyola, and Loyola fortunate to get out with that win against Lehigh in round 1 of this tournament, Alex.
I'm with you. I think Bucknell should be an even bigger favorite, but missed the best of the number here now. I do have them 11.5 in this game, and they've been covering spreads. They're 19-9 ATS on the year, so that is the way I would play it as well, but I bet you we could get a better in-game number.
I would agree. I'd agree for sure. That's the bracket right now. Again, they used to reseed. They don't anymore in the Patriot League all the way through. Again, campus sites, Sunday semifinal, Wednesday championship game. I'm sure Bucknell would love to have that game in Lewisburg with a chance to get back to the NCAA tournament. All right, let's go to the A-Sun here, Alex. 2 games. Reseeding in the A-Sun with Queens pulling the upset. They'll go to Nashville to take on Lipscomb, but we'll start in Northern Alabama first. North Alabama will host Jacksonville, reseed here, 2v4. North Alabama, honestly, this league, the top 2 teams in this league are much better than you would have expected out of this league. They're both Lipscomb's a legitimate top 80, top 90 team in the country. North Alabama, with a win in this game, will probably be approaching 100 in the country. 5.5 on this one, Alex, with a total of 142. I'd only lean to take the 5.5 with the Dolphins, though, in this game. It's all going to be on Jacksonville's defense. If Jacksonville's defense can keep them in this game, this should be a tight one. If they don't hold up, there's a blowout in favor of North Alabama. But I do like Jacksonville's defense to hold up enough to cover a 5.5-point spread. Not strong enough to bet them outright, but we'll take 5.5. I'm
definitely leaning the other way here with the favorite and laying the 5.5, especially now that it has moved down to that number, because I've got them 7.5 in this spot. So you're right. Jacksonville does have very good defense, but it's their offense I worry about scoring in this one, especially because North Alabama, they can play some pretty good defense in this one. This team has been a covering machine all year long, too. They are 20-10 ATS, so that would be a two-way action for us on this one.
Two-way action.
Vicenz, there you go. The other game, Lipscomb and Queens. I can't do anything on this, even though Lipscomb is by margin the better team, and Queens a good win in that semifinal. Remember, if Queens wins this game, you can get some weirdness in the conference title game because Queens is ineligible to go to the NCAA tournament, still in that transitions phase. But I don't see Queens winning this game. But 9.5, getting close. If you get a little lower, maybe, but I'm not quite there on Lipscomb here.
No, and I think my dad wanted to make a case for Queens, but that number is just right here, and Lipscomb is by far the better basketball team, so I would only look to the favorite in that one as well. So the ASUN, I am all chalk today with both teams that are finished 14-4 in that conference.
Let's go to non-conference tournament games. There's still some regular season games to go, and we'll start in the American Athletic with FAU on the road here at UAB. 739, 740 on your rotation numbers. Alex, that total is actually starting to go down a little bit. It was as high as 165. Now it's down to 162 in this game, wow. FAU and UAB, with UAB 5-point favorites at home.
I don't love that when the steam is going the opposite way as me, especially when it's an over. But I do like this game over. I made it much higher than what it is right now. I even made it higher than that opening number. Got 170 between these two. I mean, if you look at the pace, both of these want to play at, where you're definitely going to get the possessions in this game. And both teams are by far better offensively than they are defensively. Not really much to play for in this game. I mean, Florida Atlantic is tied for 5th, but I don't think that they can catch Tulane. They are 2 games back. So, and then UAB is sitting right there at the 3 spot. Not much of a difference from the 3 to the 4. So, yeah, I like the over in this one pretty comfortably. I put it on my board as well.
Moving along to the game that was our thumbnail here today, Middle Tennessee welcomes the Liberty Flames. Liberty got stunned at home by Kennesaw over the weekend to fall out of first place. Right now, Ray Harper's Jacksonville State would be the 1 seed in the CUSA tournament. This feels about right that Middle Tennessee State should be the smallest of home favorites in this one. Style contrast. Liberty wants to grind it. Middle Tennessee wants to play fast. Usually home team be able to dictate that style, Alex.
I agree, and that is the way I usually like to play it. But I think everything matches up here nicely. I am curious, did this open at more of a pick? We're seeing the movement come in on the side that you're saying with Middle Tennessee State, and I completely agree. I think they should be a 2-point favorite.
Yeah, we pick was the open for some shops. Yep.
This I do agree with that, Steeman. I would only be playing the favorite, maybe money line there in this one to get the win.
Going up next to the Big Ten. Actually, we'll get the Big Ten first. Michigan State and Iowa. This is not a particularly good game in the Big Ten. Michigan State on the road here, 7 with a total of 152.5. Again, for Iowa, it is all about just winning basketball games at this point. Got to at least get one of these last 2 to at least give yourself a shot to make it to Indianapolis. Remember, bottom 3 don't go. USC won yesterday to create now what is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 team clump at 7-12. If Iowa pulls off the shocker today, it will be 11 through 16, all tied at 7-12, which would make it come down to the final day of the regular season. Penn State would be Penn State is officially done as it is, and Washington, who's already done anyway, lost to USC last night. I can't really make a case for Iowa, even with the desperation, Alex. It's just not a good matchup here, and I think Michigan State's defense will be what wins the day here. But I'm going to stay out of this more so than anything, Alex.
I completely agree. I have a 14-point difference between these two teams, so even giving Iowa a little bit of home court here, I mean, I could have this number at 10, so I'd still be leaning to the Spartans, especially with them still playing for something, right? They are playing for the regular season conference championship with Michigan losing. I'm pretty sure if they win this game, then they clinch it. So I do like Michigan State in this one. I'm not going to lay the 7. I'm just going to stay off of it because I can't make a case for the dog, even in desperation, which has been working out well for us.
It would be an outright clinch for Michigan State with a win here tonight, because then it'd be completely over. They could technically share it with the Wolverines with lost tonight, and then they play Michigan in East Lansing on Sunday. So it could technically be a tie, which would go down to the tiebreakers. They would have been road team, would have won both if it ends in a tie. But an outright conference championship for Izzo and company if they win this thing tonight. And they'll end up winning this league by margin. They'll win by 3 games because I liked them on set over the weekend against Michigan, even if they have nothing to play for. Michigan kind of showed themselves who they really are at this point.
Yeah.
No reason to believe it, especially with that 4-point win margin as we've talked about. All right, 2 totals in the MAC with 2 A's here. Let's start Sacred Heart in Manhattan. And Alex, this is a large number that actually has gone down. It's now 154.5 on this one. Manhattan hosting Sacred Heart. Jasper's a 2.5-point favorite against Sacred Heart in this one.
Another one going against me, my 2 overs today, but I really like this one going over that total. I made it much higher, and then we've got 2 terrible defenses, but they have pretty decent offenses. Sacred Heart, 46 in pace in the country. And then, so looking at that first matchup, Sacred Heart won at home 74-72, 72 possessions in that game. It was a bad shooting night for Manhattan. I think that will change now with them being the home team. And these are 2 top offenses in this conference. So I've played a couple overs this week, haven't completely stayed off of them. And as long as you're selective, you can still find some good spots. I think this is a good spot for an over.
And then one that you and I are both on somehow, Marist hosting Merrimack. Now, Quinnipiac's a little more likely than not going to be the number 1 seed in the MAC tournament in Atlantic City next week. But these 2 teams, I actually think, are the teams that are most likely to dethrone them. Merrimack is the top-rated MAC team in KenPom. Marist has had a bizarro KenPom season where their offense is an abomination. So that's really ducked their ranking in KenPom. This is a pick, which I think is right, even with it being a home court game in Poughkeepsie for Marist. Yep. But you and I both like this game under. It's 126.5. As absurdly low as that is, I'm not sure how this game gets played above the mid-50s here, Alex. It just, this pace is going to be the speed of a glacier. And the first matchup between these 2 teams was actually a surprisingly quick 65 possessions, and it still only had 121 points. So expect it even slower. And it should go under here, Alex.
I agree. I think I've got this closer to 119 between these 2. So looking at their pace, looking at their offensive ranks, they're both out of like top 300 in the country. And then defensively, though, Merrimack is in the top 100 and Marist is not bad themselves. So I definitely like this under. And I lean to Merrimack, and you brought it up. I do think that they are one of the top teams in this conference. And at a pick here, I think that's the right side as well. But under is my stronger play.
We got 1 request from Dean Hilt. We had 2. We hit Michigan State and Iowa. We'll hit the other request right now. Irvine on the road at UC Davis. It's 7. It's 134. I just say this with Irvine, as we've talked about. They play this weirdo defense-first quick style, which kind of leads me to think that 134 might be a little bit low here. With this one, because UC Davis will play quicker. Now, here's the problem with UC Davis. Top 100 defense, horrendous on offense. But you're going to have enough of a pace in this game to go over to 134. It's just going to be a matter of will the offenses cooperate enough here. But that would be the only lean I have in this game.
I'm trying to find where I actually have the number. But I have neglected the Big West so much this year, so I'm going to lean on you more for this one for sure. The number I have, though, is 8 and 125. So I do have an underplay between these 2. And you can definitely see why with the better defense and terrible offenses. So under is looking like the lean and the difference here if we're going based off of numbers. Looking for any trends, we know Irvine is 10-5 to the under on the road this year, and UC Davis 6-2 to the under. So trends match, the numbers match. It would be an under 134.
One more I want to actually hit in this league because JR brought it up in his news and notes in the chat because UC San Diego's covered 11 games in a row. I think they should be a 7 seed at this point. They're that good. They take on Long Beach, who's been eliminated now from conference tournament contention. UC San Diego over the weekend beat Fullerton by 45 points in a game that wasn't even that competitive. Fullerton's another team that was already eliminated from competition, and to make that tournament, top 8 go here to Henderson, just due east of us. It's 22.5 tonight with UC San Diego. All I'm going to say is it's not an official play, but do not bet the underdog even getting that many points. It's all I'll warn. It's all I'll warn, because if you're UC San Diego, you got to be putting it on everybody you can, because you have to give the committee a reason to put you in, even with a weaker schedule. I mean, the Tritons at this point are up to number 36 in Ken Palm. That is insane for a weaker, a lower conference team with only one true high-end win, and that's Utah State. But they're that good. So I don't take the underdog. That's the only advice I'll give in that game.
No, you're right. And looking at the difference here, even giving Long Beach State 2.5 for home revenge, I still have this game at 23.5 because it is about a 26 at least point difference here, power rating wise, between the two teams.
Terrible, terrible team, that Long Beach State team. She never fired Dan Monson, who, again, they got to the tournament shockingly a year ago, and Monson's gone, and it's not been a good year for the Beach this year. All right, let's take a quick break. When we get back, we'll have the whiteboards. We'll also have Alex's hockey looks here today in a slate that you were none too pleased with when you walked in here this morning. We'll discuss it next. Sports by the Book, live at the South Point.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book. Jeff Parles, Alex White, here as always. Happy to be with you on a Thursday morning, first Thursday of March. All right, hockey time. Hockey time here on the show. Let's see our friends skating on the ice here in a second. A big card, but Alex, a card that you didn't really like here today. And we will begin in Philadelphia here this afternoon, evening, whatever you want to do. The Flyers welcome the Winnipeg Jets here in this one. And yeah, Philly is at plus only $1.20 dog here at home against the NHL's best, with a total of 5.5 in this one, Alex.
So the reason for that, Jeff, that I think this card stinks is because my numbers don't match up with the trends and kind of current form. So it's like, do you go off the numbers? You've been updating these all year long. You have your power rating, or do you go off of the form since the break? So that makes it a little tough to bet on. So I did make this game 6.5. It looks like we won't have Hellebuck playing tonight. So that definitely helps with my total going over. I also lean to the Jets, but I got to add in a little bit here because I have them a $2 favorite on the road. Clearly you can see they're minus 140. I'll take 20 cents back because they are on a 3-game losing streak, but I think this would be a great get right spot for the Jets. So maybe this is a that is not, I guess we don't have Hellebuck, so it could be a correlated. I could go over 5.5 and minus 140 with the Jets. If it was Connor Hellebuck, I would definitely say don't do that. But I think the Flyers will help in scoring somewhat here in this one. And their median at home is 3-3. So that kind of matches up there. as I mentioned, not very strong plays here today. I do have one over that I do really like coming up, though.
Going to Edmonton next. Battle of Canada with Montreal, the Canadiens and the Oilers. Oilers, a nice-sized favorite here at home, at $2.40. Total 6.5. No shock here in this one, Alex.
Jeff, I'm going with the Red Hot Canadiens.
There we go.
In this one. Let's take that plus 200 here against an Edmonton team that has lost 4 straight home games, and we've got the Canadiens that have won 5 in a row. Now, I know this stretch, they haven't beaten the toughest of teams, but they did beat Carolina in that stretch. So I think this is one of those times where you have to go with the streak and try and continue, and even if it's fading the Oilers at home right now or jumping in with the Canadiens. So not a huge 1-unit play for me, but I will put at least a half a unit on this.
Going to San Jose and Colorado next. The Sharks. Oh, boy. Yikes. Yikes on this pricing. Well, you're laying over $4 on the Avs here. Minus 420 behind us. Plus 335 on a takeback on San Jose. 6 juiced over in this one, Alex.
Well, I am not going to lay that price with the Avs, and I'm not going to take the price with the Sharks in this one. This one, I am looking at the total. I like the over between these two. The Sharks have been doing their fair share of scoring as of late as well, so I think that they will be able to score some. I made this total 6.5. Neither really with the trends. Both of them are coming into this on some winning streaks, though. The Avs have won 5 straight at home, so that is probably added into that line as well. But the Sharks have won 2 in a row. Really pretty impressive games, the last 2, to get off of their bad losing streak. So over 6 minus 120 in this one. That is going to make the board.
And then Seattle and Nashville here to wrap things up on the hockey card. Preds, $1.25 at home with a total of 5.5 of this one, Alex.
Don't love it, but I did make Nashville a much bigger favorite here at home. I've got a minus 175, so that's a 50-cent difference. If you've got the stomach to bet the Predators, they did make a trade as if they are making a push for the playoffs here, so they're still playing hard. I just think that number is incorrect, and I think minus 125 is good value on Nashville at home, who is a much better home team than a road team.
There we go. 4 hockey games to look at here today. As Alex sets her whiteboard up for everyone, we're going to go to the JR/Nick Invitational here today. The trivia question in the bottom was, of course, Saquon Barkley last season, became the 9th player in NFL history to run for 2,000-plus yards in a single season. How many can you name of the other ones? And without missing a beat, our good friend JR, who might have been sleeping in yesterday, by the way, got them all. Of course, it started with Eric Dickerson, who has the record at 2,105. Adrian Peterson, who came up 8 yards shy in 2012 in an MVP season. Jamal Lewis with 2,066 in 2003. That's the hardest one. The Jamal Lewis random spike in 2003. Barry Sanders did it in 97 with 2,053. Derrick Henry in 2020, 2027. Terrell Davis with 2008 in 1998. CJ2K, Chris Johnson in 2009, ran for 2,006 yards. And then OJ, which might be the most impressive feat of all, in 14 games ran for 2,003 yards. Unbelievable one from OJ. And then, of course, Barkley did it this year, Alex.
I'm not surprised JR could just rattle those off for us, but so that's another one for him. We're keeping a tally, right?
Where are we at on JR, Vince? Vince will tabulate.
It's got to be 6.
Yeah, I think it's with 6 and 2 now, I think, right? We had the one ineligibility one from JR when he admitted cheating, which is so it's 7 plus the question mark? Okay,
wow.
So all right, so JR with 7.2. We'll count it as a fifth of a win the day where he again takes great honesty to admit from JR, but that's where we're at. All right, the whiteboard. We can get the whiteboard here. We're all set here, Alex?
I think we're all set. Let me take a picture.
Alex is going to take a picture.
Unless you want to read it for me.
Oh, I can read it for you if you want. We confuse the heck out of everybody, though, as we usually do. Ryan, you can roll the animation there.
Very good. 4-3 yesterday. Had Alabama really hurt. I should have just had Xavier and NC State one outright. Those two were my favorite in basketball, but both unders, Jeff, in hockey. So we'll try and keep our hockey going here. Evansville and Murray State, we're going under that 130 is the current number right now. We're taking the 10 with Denver, FAU, and UAB over 163. Another over here, Sacred Heart and Manhattan over 155.5. I think we can get a better number here, 154.5. And then Merrimack and Marist under 126. Jeff and I both like that one today. And then Sharks and Avs over 6 and a pizza money or a half a unit bet here on the Canadians plus $2 or plus 210. I think I saw that was the best price out there.
There you go. There you go. That's what we're looking at here today. That under in Marist and
probably the best on there.
in Marist and Merrimack is the one to really look at here today. Boy, I know it takes a metallic stomach to get through that. I don't know why I picked metallic, but you get what I'm saying on that. A lot of fortitude to go under that low of a number, but I don't think we'll even get to 116 in all honesty. All right, that's what we got. Alex, enjoy your days off the next 2 days. I'll be here for another while here because Frank Nicotero and Punchlines comes your way at noon. I'll be there on the show at noon. I will also be back tomorrow and Friday. I'll be here joined by our good friend Dwayne Colucci tomorrow morning, breaking down everything from the Rampart. And then also we'll see who joins me on Saturday morning. Probably have some college hoops guests as we get to the chaos, the madness of March fully already started with the conference tournaments. Oh. Good luck. Get some winnings. You as well. Get some winnings. One more reminder too, tomorrow. On Friday, the afternoon show at 2 o'clock, Sonny Vaccaro will join us on Free Throw Friday. Of course, not only just the brother of Jimmy Vaccaro, our own. Of course, Sonny, one of the best marketing people in the history of sports, has a new book out as well. We'll be speaking to Sonny about a whole collection of things, including getting Michael Jordan to sign with Nike. And more when we talk to Sonny tomorrow at 2 o'clock right here on the channel. Alex, good luck.
You too.
We will see you all tomorrow, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. right here on Sports by the Book, as always, from the South Point.